Hey everyone. So I entitled my thesis and research project Love and Study Hall, examining the relationship between education level and relationship satisfaction. And today I'll just be talking to you about my findings of the variables and what I found about the relationship and how I put everything together. So let's begin. So we begin with my research question, which was what is the relationship between education level and relationship satisfaction? And with that, I wanted to state my independent variables and my dependent variables. And education level in this instant would be my independent variable or my X variable, and relationship satisfaction would be my dependent variable or my Y variable. When we get into the literature review, I wanted to make sure that I separated each variable into its own separate section so we could find research on the independent variable as well as the dependent variable. As far as education level goes, I found that on average, enrollment rates according to the NCES, which is the enrollment status that the government takes, the census that they take, that enrollment has risen 19% over the last decade or so between 2006 and 2016. However, with the enrollment rates, there are gender differences between men and women. Uh, Women tend to be better at enrollment and be better at incorporating their school into their lives and their social lives and having a better transition from high school to college than men do, due to factors such as study habits and class attendance. Female students tend to perform better, resulting in higher graduation rates for women, whereas male students tend to have more difficulty in the transition from high school to college, and they find that their rates of persistence as male students tend to face more difficult pathways throughout the journey from high school to college. So both genders are going to college. It's just a different way of going to college and maintaining the effort in going to college. So then we get into the variable of relationship satisfaction, our dependent variable. Satisfaction in this instance can be defined as a positive or sometimes negative evaluation of one's partner. And there are different factors that go into relationship satisfaction, personality being the largest portion of it, I found in the research, as well as physical attractiveness and sexual compatibility. And all these factors range according to research as it applies to the rated level of satisfaction for heterosexual couples. Evidence shows that while sexual compatibility is important, so is the longevity of said relationship and other factors such as children or stepchildren and the length of time in the marriage. So all those factors go into relationship satisfaction, what makes one happy, as well as personality. Now, when we combine the two to see if there's a relationship, the education level and relationship satisfaction, we get into the phenomenon of sapiosexuality, which is defined as a trait predicting one's mate preference for educated partners. So, based off of where we are in today's world, evolutionary and sociocultural models of mate preferences suggest that education might be an important consideration for men and women because, like I said before, the enrollment rates are increasing. It is likely that people are looking for other educated partners and people are meeting their spouses and partners while they're in college, and so that puts them on a more level playing ground. Partners who are live similarly educated may represent an optimum balance of positive and negative, making partners the most desirable. So again, you're on a more level playing field with each other. You understand each other a little bit more than you would if you weren't dating an educated partner. However, some gaps in the literature were that there was little to none representation of multicultural couples as well as homosexual couples. All of the studies that I found typically interviewed and researched heterosexual white couples, heterosexual straight white couples. And I find that if we want to make generalizations and assumptions about the general population, then we have to find more multicultural options as well as homosexual options because obviously, there are ways to get married now. Marriage is legal for a lot of gay couples and multicultural couples, and those multicultural um, multicultural differences, can affect education level, which can affect relationship satisfaction. Okay, so methodology, I wanted to use 1,000 participants, 500 men and 500 women with a preference of Black and slash African Americans, age 21 and over. Recruitment will happen through social media as well as recruiting through areas located around colleges and universities. So, like in the RDU area, it would be like around us, around Central, Duke, UNC. If we're going towards Raleigh, Shaw, State, things like that. Because I know when people live in college, they either have students that are in colleges or they graduated from these colleges. So I wanted to get these people into the study. When they come into the study, they'll be separated from their partners, and then they'll be given the couple satisfaction index, a 32 item scale to measure one's satisfaction in the relationship, and relationship assessment scale, which is a 7-item scale designated to measure general relationship satisfaction. And that just will say, all right, what's the difference between, more specific relationship satisfaction and broad relationship satisfaction? And then they'll be asked to say what's their highest level of education as well as their age. And this is because we want to examine the measure of central tendency of how many degrees show up in the different groups and the different age groups. We will put each gender in a specific age group, 1, 2, and 3, based off 21 to 30, 35 to 45, and 45 plus, and how many degrees will show up there, as well as the percentage of degrees that will show up there as far as our descriptive stats go. For our multivariate statistic, we'll be looking at the regression. And so what that means is we'll be making a scatter plot based off the results of the survey, and we'll draw our regression line to see if there is in fact a relationship based off of the scatter plot that we plot with the results of the survey to see if there is in fact a positive or negative relationship between education level and relationship satisfaction. Because remember, if one rises, the other rises, or if the points are scattered all over the place, there is no relationship. The drawing of the regression line in the middle of the points will represent a confirmation or denial of a relationship between our variables. And we also want to make note, again, like I said, of the descriptive statistical analysis to examine the percentage of how many degrees show up and compare that to the percentage of people who don't have degrees or who only have a master's degree or who have PhDs or bachelor's degrees, what have you. This division will allow us to look at the frequency of degrees that appear or don't appear amongst the participants, again, based off of their age grouping. So yeah, that is pretty much my research study and how I would want to conduct my research. It was really fun looking up all this stuff. I learned a lot, and I hope you all enjoy this presentation.